This is the original lightkeeper's cottage. It was built in 1939. Now the light was automated in the 1950s and the lightkeeper left in the 70s. In 1960, Frank Ney and Nanaimo Realty bought the island, subdivided the island, and for $8 down and $8 a month, you could have your own lot on what was Douglas Island, is now Protection Island. The P.I Lions Club used the lightkeeper's cottage for monthly meetings, and in 1980, Parker and Tilly Williams converted 2 rooms of this building to be an exhibit for the miners' artifact. Just before we go into the museum, I want to show you something. We put a plaque up on our wall commemorating the loss of life. The loss of life was in September 10th, 1918. The mine shaft is only a few hundred yards from where I'm standing. And on that day, on that morning, 16 men got in the cage to go down the mine shaft, the cable broke, and they all fell to their death. And we decided that it would be a good thing if we had a little memorial for them, because they never got one. We had a beautiful memorial service. The city put together this beautiful plaque, put it up on our wall. And I think once a year now we're going to have a little memorial just to remember those that passed away that terrible day and think about our history a little bit more. But anyway, more history. Come on inside. Well, the first thing you should see when you come in the museum is, of course, the artifacts that we've collected from the mine. Most of these were collected by Parker, and we've had a few good additions since then. We also have a nice collection of maps in our museum. This is the pride of our fleet right here, is this old map of Protection Island. And right next to it, the new map of Protection Island. It was done by our friends Allison and Trudy. And they kind of go well together. But let me show you the main exhibit room. This is our main exhibit room, and I'm sorry to say there's not anything in it. There hasn't been anything in it for almost 2 years now. Hopefully this year we'll get started again. But take a look around. You should know that a lot of wonderful things have been exhibited in this room. I became the curator in 1999. My wife Valley and I were newbies. We didn't know many people. I had to figure out a way to introduce myself as the curator. So I put up a little notice in the ferryboat waiting room. That's because my neighbor Doug Ruff hadn't built the community bulletin boards yet. And the sign said, "Do you collect interesting things? Would you like to display them and share your passion with the island?" My first offers came from Sandra Headley and Jürgen Goring. Both responded by saying they wanted to help. And Jürgen said, "I not only want to help, I have a display. Pianos." I said, "Well, Jürgen, our museum is really small, and I don't think we can put more than 1 or 2 pianos in there." And Jürgen said, No, not pianos, piano parts." Now, Jürgen is a piano technician. He repairs them. He tunes them. He is an expert on its evolution and design. He exquisitely showed us how the piano is truly a sum of its parts, and it was a wonderful exhibit. After the success of the pianoforte exhibit, the floodgates opened, and over the next 20 years, we were so fortunate to place exhibits in this room that showed the true colors of the people that live on this island. Some of our best shows were inspired by suggestions from islanders. Norm Loudon approached me one day and said, "You know, you should have an exhibit of things that islanders made. You could call it, 'Look What I Made.'" The museum has hosted a number of talks and nature walks presented by islanders who are experts in their field. One of the highlights was our own exhibit of the ecosystems of Protection Island. Where would we be without Station Number 7 and our amazing first responders? Residents raised money to purchase our ambulance, and funds were matched by the city. The community participated in work parties to paint and beautify the building.
Folks, the boat returns to town every hour on the hour until 10 o'clock tonight. That's our last scheduled trip. Every hour on the hour until 10.
The protection connection. Something that happens to me. It's happened to me twice. Perhaps it's happened to some of you. It happened to me in Hong Kong and in Mexico. Someone comes up to me and says, "Where are you from?" I say, "Canada." "Oh, where in Canada?" "Oh, a little island off the west coast." "Oh, what island is that?" Protection Island." And then they look at you and they smile and go, "Dingy Dock Pub." Bob and Hilda Bannard had a dream. The dream was to build a pub, and they did it. A floating one. It was built here on site in sometimes very miserable weather. In the spring of 1989, the Dinghy Dock Pub was opened.
Protection Island off Nanaimo has a new watering hole that's literally on the water. The Dinghy Dock Pub is not only a floating pub, but also a licensed vessel. The operation is the first of its kind in BC.
The idea here just, well, obviously you want to make a living at this, but you want to have some fun.
Oh yeah, that's all it is to me now. It's an interesting thing because I've done it once before and it was successful. This time around, we did it a little bit more unique and tried to make it just a little bit more interesting, and it's interesting for us. We're going to have a lot of fun doing this.
The Dinghy Dock is iconic and gives us one of the most dependable ferry services anywhere. And that's why we decided to present its story as an exhibit in our museum. Many of the pub's unique decorations, including currency from around the world, and showcase them in our exhibit. Does this boat look familiar? Well, what is now the waiting room was originally a boat brought down from the Okanagan, and Bob often used it for sea lion tours. Now, where the workshop is, at the top of the ramp, was once a small store selling grocery supplies. You could even rent cassette movies. And there was also a bakery with delicious cookies and cinnamon buns. Little advice from your friendly curator. If someone offers you a free cannon, just say no. Well, we said yes. And now we have a cannon, but it sure took a lot more work than we had bargained for. The cannon arrived, but the original carriage didn't survive the journey. Tauno had to design and build a new one.
The Protection Island Garden Tour was started in 1993 by Esme Aird and Heather Cooling, both avid gardeners. The garden tour is the museum's main fundraiser, with all proceeds going to the Protection Island Museum. Admission is by donation, where you receive a map and write-up of the gardens. We hold the garden tour in June, and there are usually 8 to 10 gardens that are featured. We do not strive for perfection in gardens, but feature old established gardens, new gardens, and those in transition. It is an island highlight. And of course, our famous barbecue happens at the end of the tour. Smokies are the highlight. Many a Protection Islander vegetarian has been noted to scarf down several, but we show no judgment. Our many, many thanks to the gardeners who have opened up their gardens for all to see. We so appreciate all their work, and they have raised a lot of money for our museum funds. We thank you.
One of the museum's jobs is to document the island culture in all its wonderful and strange expressions. For example, we have a bus stop, but no bus. We have a baseball field that's gone to the dogs. And with the exception of Florida and Dubai, we have more golf carts per capita than anywhere else in the world. And yet, no golf course. But we do know what to do with our golf carts. They're perfect for a parade. To say that we have a unique nautical culture would be a huge understatement.
The museum gift shop has been an added feature to showcase Protection Island artists. P.I is home to many musicians, potters, authors, photographers, jewelers, knitters who produce high-quality gifts that we have chosen to display and sell at the museum. We offer a variety of note cards, posters, books, the P.I color map, CDs, jewelry, ceramics, lotions, and t-shirts, among many things. And of course, our cookbook. Our famous cookbook was published in 2012, and it's a collection of Protection Island's best and sometimes very unique recipes. This little book has been a bestseller for sure, and there are rumors there could be another one in the works.
It's just across the water between the ocean and the sea. Some trees cold and sandstone. It's an island home for me. Well, it's hard to sing about it, 'cause I would not want to gloat. Let me say, I know I'm lucky. Come on, step onto the boat. I'm not saying my home is better. Home is where your heart will rest. Wherever roots can get you grounded is where you're gonna